Positive parenting. This video presents myths and facts of parenting, parenting styles, core values in parenting skills, and tips to practice with your child. I will present many tips for you to try and more. Myth number 1. All parenting skills are instinctive. Fact number 1. No one is born with all the preparation needed to be an effective parent. Parents will make mistakes, and there's nothing wrong with that. Many parenting skills must be learned through gaining knowledge and experience. The more you practice, the better you'll become. Myth number 2. Parenting is always fun, and holding adorable babies is great. Fact number 2. Like any other job, parenting can be fun, sad, exciting, boring, satisfying, and frustrating. Before you decide to have a child of your own, you should have realistic expectations about parenting. Make an informed choice. Myth number 3. Parents should not tell their kids no, and should let them do whatever they want. Fact number 3. Setting limits and explaining reasons for those limits teaches kids necessary skills. Despite their reluctance, patiently explain there is usually a good reason behind accepting rules and taking responsibility. Discuss the benefits of following rules so that they can have a more successful life. Sometimes parents become upset when children make mistakes. They may yell at them, set harsh consequences, and lecture them. This may harm their child's self-esteem and discourage them. It is more effective to be patient and make time to explain why their mistake was wrong, so that, in time, your child will understand and remember the lessons being taught. This allows them to internalize and remember your patient explanations of limits. Myth number 4. Your marriage will survive neglect while raising the kids. Is neglecting your relationship with your children's other parent acceptable? Fact number 4. Because parenting is all-consuming, some parents neglect their marriage, causing a deterioration in the marriage relationship. One of the most important things we can do for our children is to nurture our connection with our partner and balance the time spent with both. Children learn important relational skills by observing how parents interact with one another. As parents communicate agreeably and work through disagreements, children will see this and learn important skills. Children learn these skills from observing your interactions with your partner and with them. Myth number 5. It is acceptable to drop your kids off and just leave them there while they are involved in various activities with peers, so you can get some alone time. Fact number 5. The truth is that children take great joy when they see their parents actively watching from the sidelines After being involved in various events, parents can ask them how things went, congratulate them, and provide them with support. This is quality time that children can look back upon and joyfully remember how their parents were involved in their extracurricular activities. Myth number 6. Children require so much attention that you should place all of your attention on your child's needs. Fact number 6. You may be tempted to place your needs on hold while taking care of your child's needs. Actually, being devoted to your child and being devoted to yourself shouldn't be mutually exclusive. Just as it's your job to be attentive to your relationship with your child, make sure that your child gets proper nutrition, enough sleep, social interaction, and mental stimulation. Remember that you need all those things as well. There are many parenting styles that can be categorized into 4 types: authoritative, authoritarian, permissive, and uninvolved. Authoritative parenting is open to each person expressing their own opinion, even if it differs, placing a high value on love and mutual self-esteem, while setting reasonable limits. These parents explain that the reason behind these limits is because they care for them. Provide your child with choices and discuss the pros and cons of each, so that your child learns to accept responsibility for the outcome. It does not focus on punishment. Parents are more aware of their child's feelings, capabilities, and strive to promote the development of their child's autonomy within reasonable limits. Research shows that this style is the most beneficial when parenting children. These children are more likely to end up happy, self-confident, curious, independent, likable, respectful of others, and successful in school. These are the characteristics of children raised by an authoritative parent. More later. Authoritarian parenting shows little love with high limits. Parents who practice authoritarian-style parenting have a strict set of rules and expectations, require rigid obedience, and are not open to discussion. If rules are not followed, punishment is most often used to ensure obedience. There is usually no explanation of punishment, except that the child is in trouble and should listen accordingly. Children of authoritarian parents usually end up unhappy, are anxious, have low self-confidence, lack social skills, are hostile, lack altruistic behaviors, are coercive in dealing with others, and are distrustful and defiant. Permissive parents are high in love and low on limits. In these family settings, a child's freedom and their autonomy are valued, and parents tend to cater to the requests of the child. There tends to be little, if any, punishments or rules in this style of parenting, and the child is said to be free from external constraints. Children of permissive parents tend to become selfish, have little self-control, are unmotivated, are the least self-reliant. Refuse to be controlled, demand attention, are disobedient, impulsive, and are the unhappiest. Uninvolved parents are uninvolved and demonstrate low love and have low limits. An uninvolved parent might provide everything the child needs, such as food, clothes, and money, expecting that this should be sufficient for the child. This parent has little to no investment in the difficulties that may occur in the child's life. The child who feels this lack of connection with the parent will likely have a lower self-esteem. The child of uninvolved parents tend to be disobedient, demanding, low in self-control, low in frustration tolerance, and lacking long-term goals. Core parenting skills to build your child's self-esteem are: accept your child for the wonderful person she or he is. Laugh together, have fun with each other, play together, enjoy each other's company, and do things together. Communicate your expectations respectfully and listen attentively to your child. Encourage desirable behavior through modeling, acknowledgement, and feedback. Use frequent praise and positive attention. Teach and support good eating habits, and give chores that build responsibility to teach needed skills. Keep your promises or do not make them. Never use physical force on your child, and let the child know how you feel. And have mutually agreed upon ground rules and enforce them consistently. Model apologizing for mistakes and allow the child to admit their own mistakes while fostering positive communication. Positive authoritative parenting includes the following: ensure a safe and engaging environment. Creating a positive learning environment where the child can learn from mistakes without the fear of embarrassment, where making mistakes is acceptable, and where trust can develop. Use discipline by being direct when offering choices to the child, which allows them to learn from their mistakes. Encourage them to think of the consequences of their choices so as to improve their own decision-making skills. Encourage them to take responsibility for their own behavior through a positive approach that promotes learning skills. Have realistic expectations by making sure that what you expect from your child is at a developmentally appropriate level. Be positive and encourage them to be the best they can be, and adjust your expectations as the child gets older. And finally, take care of yourself as a parent. Allow your child to be engaged in activities with others while you relax. Perhaps you and your spouse can go out to a movie or a restaurant where you can nurture your relationship and catch up on each other's lives. Take advantage of your time away from the children to develop your relationship in various ways. It's important to give yourself a break. How can you discipline your kids? Tip 1. Distraction. Distract a misbehaving child by excitedly offering a different activity, or by changing the subject, by telling your child a fascinating story. Move the attractive but forbidden object out of your child's reach. Tip 2. Positive language. Avoid saying no too often. If you do, the word will lose its impact. Instead of telling a child not to run, you might want to state the behavior that you want in the positive, such as telling the child to walk rather than telling them to stop running. Try to find different approaches for different situations. Tip 3. Consistency. Let them know your limits. Enforce your rules the same way every time. Your child will repeatedly test you to see if you will change your limits. By consistently following through with the limits set for your child will know ahead of time that you will stick to your word and will ultimately feel safer. Tip 4. Appreciate inquiry. Appreciate your child's feedback, questions, and comments. Ask your child questions to teach them how to explore and discover things about the world. Encourage exploration of new ideas by involving them in different activities and discussing what they learned together. Tip 5. Praise your child. Honestly praise your child for their progress and good behavior. Creatively modify and vary how you specifically praise your child. Otherwise, it will become routine and will not likely positively impact your child. Celebrate small accomplishments without being too excessive. Tip 6. Empowerment. Encourage your child to solve problems by themselves in a safe environment where they can explore different solutions. Guide them through dialogue and ask your child specific, open-ended questions about real-life situations to get them thinking critically. That is an important aspect of teaching them to internalize what they've learned. Tip 7. Model behavior. Lead and educate by example. Model the behaviors you want your child to copy. For example, if you become easily angered and lose your temper, you will teach your child to do the same. If you become angry and manage how you express it by directly discussing your feelings in a respectful way, and by stating what you did not like about what they did, they will learn to express themselves in a similar way. You will teach them to express their feelings appropriately without acting them out. This will be because you have modeled this desirable behavior to them. Leading by example is important. Tip 8. Right environment. Suppose your child is playing outside, playing video games, texting others, or engaging in other activities. It is important for you to be able to have them come in to study in an appropriate environment. Your child will be more likely to pay attention if they consistently know what time they need to come in the house. Make sure your child has a quiet place to learn, separated from the rest of the house, away from distractions like TVs or games. It is important to have a consistent routine when it comes to studying, so that it becomes a habit for your child. Don't forget to praise your child for a job well done. How to parent more effectively. Tip 1. Work on the behavior you want to change the most. Then move on to the next one. Don't try to tackle everything at once, otherwise it will be too overwhelming and confusing. Tip 2. Focus on exactly what you want to change. Break behaviors down into separate pieces and work on each piece one at a time. This will create greater understanding. For example, if your child yells at you, storms out of the room, and goes to his room, slamming the door behind him, start with the behavior you want to change most. When you talk to your child, begin with, "Next time you get angry, let me know why you're upset." Converse with them about ways they can calm down. The goal is to help your child to connect their angry outburst with what would be a more effective way of responding. Since they will not be able to figure this out on their own, communicate with them in such a way that they can improve their knowledge of themselves. Tip 3. Explain the change. Suppose your child uses profanity, and you find that to be unacceptable. Let your child know up front what the consequences will be if they continue to do so. For example, if you continue to use profanity, your games will be taken away. You may want to clarify specifically what will be removed for a time and discuss this with your child. Let them know what will happen if that behavior occurs again, and that it is ultimately their choices that determine the outcome. This will help them realize that their undesirable behavior is their responsibility, which is the goal, for your child to self-reflect, take personal responsibility, and make the necessary changes themselves. This is something that needs to be agreed upon ahead of time. The goal is for you to be concise and specific about the expectations and not give in to long speeches. In short, be specific. Tip 4. Tell your child what the goal is. It is important to define your goals to your child so they also know what they are working towards. This will help your child to know what will occur for each behavior. Now you have had the opportunity to see the various tips, suggestions, and ideas for positive parenting. These skills are important for the development of lifelong confidence and optimism for your child. Positive parenting isn't easy. Parents everywhere recognize the obligation we have to support, encourage, and teach our children in their uniqueness, just as you are unique.